And welcome back, everybody, to match day 14 reactions, where this week, topsy-turvy, up and down, everything's gone crazy. But hey, we're here to give you guys all the stats and statistics. And when I say we, I don't mean just me, I mean my friend, my cohort, Matt. Matt, how are you doing today?
I'm doing just great, yeah. It's a good day.
Awesome. It is a good day. It's a beautiful day. We got a lot of match day stuff. We got a lot of match day things. And before we get started, I want to say a big thank you to our sponsorship of this stream, HelloFresh. Thank you again to HelloFresh for sponsoring this video. The link is down below in the description. It greatly helps us out so very much. Alright, let's get on to this week, the Premier League, and we'll go to our first game of the week, Leicester City, Man City. The score on that game was a 1-0 game. I had as a draw, 2-2. Matt was way off, 4-0. Had the nothing part, but not the 4 part. Alright, Matt, what did you think about this week?
Well, first off, I want to say I got the result of the match right. Even if it doesn't matter how close it was, and you didn't, so I feel like that, that's what matters at the end of the day.
+1 for Matt, okay.
But I think it totally could have been more. Ward played really well. Leicester's keeper, he made a few very, very important stops. This was a classic City game, though. They dominated the ball. They had so many passes. But they were kept pretty bottled up until Kevin De Bruyne broke the tie, as he does, as I've seen it in numerous Premier League games, of just a moment of magic from the Belgian. Fun fact, he was playing against his Belgian teammate in the midfield, Yuri Tielemans, who will most likely also be on the Belgian World Cup team. But yes, the Belgian for City prevailed, and I mean, I'll let you go into more detail, but City played well enough to win, I'll say that.
So, did you see the game, or did you only get to see the highlights of it?
I've only seen parts of it.
Okay, so I watched the game on that because with the game that I was going to watch, or I should say the game that I was watching, we'll get to the score of that game, but the game that I was watching was incredible. So I kind of was jumping from game to game. They have this thing on the NBC Peacock site where it's called Gold Rush, and basically you get to see it jumps from game to game and game and game, and just kind of like shows certain moments. There's big moments happening, and so what happened during that game was a load of crap. I'm going to show the highlight of it right here, but basically, at that moment, Jack Grealish actually got quote-unquote tripped at that line right before that happened. If anything, he barely touched him. He barely touched his little toe, and he flopped. He's like, "Oh, I'm a fish," and flopped right down, and then it went right to a penalty spot. Or basically where De Bruyne was able to get that and I will say, De Bruyne, beautiful shot. There was no way anybody was saving that. And but yeah, I will say that was bullcrap. This game should have been 0-0 because Leicester City dominated this. They were playing a 5-4-1. I believe it was 5-4-1 set, and doing well. They would push Man City to the outside, so where they couldn't chop it in, and because Erlin wasn't playing like I thought he wasn't going to play, it allowed the center not to have so much pressure, and so you could just play out and go, okay, I'm going to attack Foden, I'm going to attack Grealish, I'm going to attack everybody, push them to the outsides and push them out front into the midfield. So great job actually by Leicester City. Honestly, great job by them. And playing and like I said, Man City has just shown that if you can double team Haaland and you play exactly like
or if he doesn't play,
or he doesn't play, that's exactly what will help him and get a good win. So good job on Leicester City. Man City, of course, you're going to get a win on that, but good on you. So good on both teams, I would say that. So All right, on to the next game, which is going to be the big old Newcastle Aston Villa game. Holy crap, 4-0. I did watch this game. I don't think Matt watched this game, but I did. Matt,
I got to see a bunch of the game.
What happened for you? What did you think about the game?
I will start by saying Newcastle didn't allow shot on target. They stopped Villa at every chance. Like, I don't know. It's so interesting to like look at the stats, and they like don't always like tell the exact story, but like the entire front three of Newcastle was just going. And like, I mean, it's actually so interesting to see how like this team has improved over the year. I would say like they were not looking like this even a month and a half ago, but they just seem to be getting better and better. I will say, for your sake, there was no goal around 30 minutes.
Yeah, I know, and I will say I'll actually tell you why when it's my turn.
Okay,
But go ahead.
okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
They had more than 6 times the amount of shot attempts, like 7 on target. It's complete domination. Like they're a team that won convincingly, unlike some of the other matches we'll talk about later. But I'll let you get into the details since you saw every minute of it.
Oh yes. Oh, did I ever? Okay, so big things happened in this game that normally don't happen. So you went to the crowd. The crowd was full. It was I think it was 59,000 people were in the stadium. It was so loud for the first like 5 minutes. Newcastle was doing great, and then like you could see Aston Villa couldn't handle Newcastle's big bodies or whatever they were doing, and so they were wasting time as soon as the 10-minute marker came in. And about the 15-minute marker, people started flopping down on the ground, and then right about 20th, I think it was, the goalie for Aston Villa took a shot in the head by Tyrone Mings to the head with his knee, full force, right to, you could see his neck just pop to the right, and you could tell immediately. I've seen American football, and I was like, that's a concussion. You guys need to take him out. Like, that is dangerous if you guys leave him in. And the staff came on, and the staff had like not only him, but they had the stretcher. They had the little, orange thing come out, and they were like, okay, we're checking your neck, we're checking. And it took 10 minutes for that one, so it calmed the crowd down. He got back, like all of a sudden they were like, okay, we're back. And he's like, okay, we're good, we're gonna keep him on there. And 5 minutes later, all of a sudden he goes down again. He grabbed the ball and he started like getting woozy, and they were like, no, we gotta take you off now. He's like, no, I'm fine. Gotta take him off. So not only did you have the 15 minutes right there being wasted, I can't say wasted because he actually was injured, but then him coming off, another 10 minutes on top of that, and then there was another injury right after that, about 5 minutes down on the other end where Newcastle was at. One of their players actually got a severe penalty. He had to be taken out too. And so in the first half, extra time in the first half should be 1-2 minutes, maybe 3 tops. It was 10 minutes. It could have been 15 easily. It was 10 minutes. And Newcastle got a penalty shot near the end, but you could see Newcastle, like those if you want to stop Newcastle, that's how you do it. Get injured. Like legit injured. Because it slowed us down. They were kicking the ball around because they were so cold. And the crowd was quiet finally. And then as soon as we got back from halftime, we all warmed up a little bit and we played. This game could have easily gone 6, 7, 8-0. Callum Wilson, incredible. He almost had a hat trick. He hit the crossbar, bounced out. I mean, beautiful shot too from afar. Almarn again got another one. Almarn almost got a second goal right after it happened. It was incredible. Joe Linton, beautiful shot. I mean, the crowd was going insane. One goal, then another goal, almost a third goal. I mean, they did take Callum off at about like they took a bunch of people off at about the 80th minute mark, I think it was, because we were already up 4-0 at that time. So they took him about 80th minute mark, and Callum, you could see he was like, yeah, I'm clapping, but he was so mad. He's like, oh, I could have got a hat trick today. I should have. And the cool part was in that game, the head coach, I can't remember what's his name, but the head coach for England was there. So Callum, who can play for England, even though he's from New Zealand, he could play for England, showed what he could do. So that could have sparked it up. Nick Pope,
right?
Yep, Trippier was for that. I mean, so much, like, he was there in the stand. So good on Newcastle, great game. I was in fear. They had some amazing shots, amazing movements, and I say that's the only reason the 30-minute thing didn't happen. There was just no, you couldn't do anything. There was stoppage in play. Like I said, it was like 15 minutes, I would say 15-20 minutes tops of the play was injury time, like literally injuries. And after we finally they stopped doing all the stoppage in plays times, we started winding up. We got a penalty shot finally, and then as soon as that happened, the floodwaters came on. But go ahead.
I mean, that's all I had to say about that game. You went second anyway. I will add though that Newcastle is slowly catching up to the top spots. People are gonna start having to watch out for them. They've only lost one game all year, which is the same amount of losses as City and Arsenal. So they got some interesting matchups in the coming weeks, but we will talk about that in another video.
Oh, totally, yeah. So we'll move on to the next game, which game that I actually got to see part of it. I'm hoping this week what we can do is I'll tell Matt, like, all right, Matt, we get to choose 3 games. He'll choose Chelsea, of course. I'll choose Newcastle, and then we'll both pick 2 games, and then we'll be able to go deeper. But we'll see what happens. Matt and I will be talking a little bit, but this game I actually got a little sneak peek of it as because the Newcastle game was being blown out, so they jumped over when the game was over to the Tottenham Bournemouth game. Incredible game. But Matt, go ahead. What did you?
Hold on, first, how did you get to this game first?
That's what
when the Newcastle game like had so much stoppage and so much delay. Like, how did it end before this game? But like maybe they just had a shorter halftime or something.
They might have.
So Tottenham were playing very bad this game. I was getting live updates while I was watching one of the other games from a friend of mine who cheers for Spurs. He was just in despair, basically. Like, Tottenham are so bad. Why are they like even trying to be in the top 4 at all this? Because they're just playing horribly, and like every once in a while they show that like it doesn't matter how low you're in the table, you can still like have a game against Tottenham. And I will admit this was at the Vitality Stadium. It wasn't too terrible weather either. It was still October. But yeah, they found themselves down 2-0 at 50 minutes, and like deservedly so. But if there's one thing you should know about Spurs, is that they love to bottle things. They love to choke away titles and trophies and games. But this game, they reverse bottled it. And maybe that's the secret, is to not get into a winning position, because it seems like whenever they get into a winning position, they like let off the gas. But if they're chasing a game, they have, you know, that energy still. And yeah, Sessegnon scored a goal. I don't know if he's even scored for Tottenham yet. Maybe once or twice. Also, he's like, so he plays fullback. Ben Davies is also a defender, and then Bentancur's a midfielder. So none of their goals came from the forwards this game. Kane hasn't been playing very well this season. Son, aside from that one hat trick he had, has also been playing very poorly, and Kulusevski's been hurt. Like, I think that's the biggest thing that has hurt Spurs in the last like month, is they're missing Kulusevski like a lot. Like, when they play that front three of Kane, Son, and Kulusevski, like together they're all very good, but individually they're like not so much. I guess Sessegnon's technically a wing back, but still. Yeah, they somehow clawed it back, even if they maybe didn't necessarily deserve it. They ended up having a bulk of the possession, I assume, because the second half they just had so much of the ball. But yeah, an extra time goal put them in the lead, which kept them in third place, which I'm sure you were keenly aware of, and you'll probably discuss. But yeah, and I'll add also they had a surprising result a few days after this in the Champions League as well, which is very un-Spurs of them, but I will say kudos to them for finding a way to get 3 points away, and I'll let you add your piece now.
Okay, so I thought this game was going to be a big blow-up by Tottenham coming off a loss from Newcastle. Let's come back.
You said 4.
What's that? Yeah, I know. That's why I thought. Yeah, I totally thought it was 4. I did check to see why that game was like that. That game started at 3 p.m. and the Newcastle game started, I believe it was 2 hours before that, 9 p.m. So, or 9 a.m. I'm sorry. So the one game started at 11 a.m. and then the Newcastle game started at 9, and that's why it was delayed later. And I was able to watch the end of the game. I was able to watch the last like 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes of it. And I had all the stats of a live feed of every game on the left side, watching that and going, oh my god, they're down by 2. And more, the guy who scored the goals for Bournemouth, holy crap, that dude was just finding open spots. And you know, Tottenham played amazing, but oh my, kudos to Bournemouth for just, when they got a chance to shoot it on net, that dude shot it.
Yeah.
It was incredible. And I was telling Matt about it, as soon as Tottenham brought the one player on, who's that? Ben Kerr, yeah. As soon as they brought him on, it flipped everything. As soon as they brought him on, all of a sudden Tottenham just switched, almost like a switch, and said, "Hey, we're gonna start playing better."
It came on in the 58th minute, and they gave him man of the match.
Yeah.
That's quite the impact, you know.
It was. I mean, think about it. As soon as he comes on, a goal was scored. The second he comes on, he got on that field. Oh, we'll score. And I think as soon as that happened, Bournemouth was like, "Oh no, here we go." And that last second goal, nobody marked him. Like you're like, why are you not marking the guy who's in the box right there? Like, you need to mark him. And the goal, it was a header just right in. It's like, oh, dang it. But yeah, Tottenham, good on them. They kept them in third place, because literally if they would have drawn there, Newcastle would have got third on goal difference. So good on them. Good on Bournemouth. It sucks. Bournemouth's going to take that, though. Bournemouth's doing pretty well this year, and nowhere near where I thought they would be. But good on them, and good on that game. It was a very good game. Very good game to watch at the end. So next game, Brighton versus Chelsea. Matt, what'd you think about this game?
I would like to remind you that I'm a neutral. I came into watching this game. This game had all of the storylines, and I was talking to Games about this too. So it's Graham Potter's first game back at the Amex as a manager of another team. It's the new manager De Zerbi's first match against Chelsea. It was like, I think they have been on a very good run ever since he took over. Like, they drew with Liverpool. They've been hanging with a lot of other teams and winning. And yeah, this was like kind of just like the stars aligned, and Brighton had the fans going. They had their team fired up. They had, they were in the heads of the other team, I think, right from the beginning. It was so bad. And to me, it didn't seem like this, but I didn't get to see all of the game. But they subbed Kepa off at like the 46th, like at halftime, basically.
Yep.
So they said he was dealing with an injury. Because I don't think like that's not a thing they do in soccer usually is like if the goalie's playing really bad to pull him. Like it's a very hockey thing to do. So I didn't expect that to be why, which makes sense why because two of the goals as we were talking about, two of them were own goals, which were just, seemingly harmless balls that hit the defender and snuck past the goalie that he had no idea that it would deflect like on the inside of him basically or like around him, going the opposite direction. I would like to remind everyone and games that I predicted at least one of Brighton's goals to be scored
I wrote
by
it
own
down.
goal.
Yeah, and
That's a five-pointer you said.
That's a 5-pointer, yeah. Because I was like, own goal? Who does that?
Yeah, I just had a feeling, it's like, yeah, I don't know. Chelsea has this habit of like not being able to hold up consistently, and I just something about like going back and playing against your old team that you managed, that you kind of like helped build up to be pretty good. They're gonna, all those players are gonna come out and have something to prove against you, right? You're like, why did you go to this other team? What was wrong with us, basically? And fair credit to them, they took advantage. Like, it wasn't just that Chelsea played poorly, although they definitely didn't help themselves. It was just that Brighton played really well too. Like, they took advantage of every chance. They scored 5 minutes into the game. Not even, less than 5 minutes. I'm going to say Trossard. Keep an eye out for that name at the World Cup. He also plays for Belgium. He's been on fire this season. Gross as well. Although, the interesting thing about Pascal Gross is that he's German, but the German national team is very stacked, and he rarely ever gets called up. But he's always consistently a very strong player domestically. But yeah, it's another away loss for Chelsea. They deserve to lose. I'll say it. And what did you think of this game, Gibbs?
So I only saw highlights. I didn't, because I knew you were watching the game, and I just, as soon as you said, I think there has been an own goal. Actually, I think that you hit me up on Discord, and you're like, I think there was 2 of them. And I was like, wait, what? And I think you may be wrong.
2. If I said there's going to be 2 own goals this game, 10 points or something.
I was like, oh no. And it was so, I saw the highlights, and you could just see that they just didn't have the will after like 14 minutes. You knew they weren't coming back.
Crushed. Yeah.
Yep. And the chances too, Pulisic did come in and almost got a goal. Gallagher, same thing. Their goalie in Brighton was phenomenal. He saved so many good shots. Pulisic just missed the net completely. He went to the right. It went straight and then like kind of screwballed to the right a little bit. Just go.
I'm sensing a trend here of Pulisic almost scoring but then not scoring.
Yeah.
Like maybe that'll happen for USA as well.
Yeah, no, it won't. We're gonna win the World Cup. Period.
That's a good one.
I was excited. I was like, because I saw, I was like, oh, he scored! Oh, because I would have got 1 point for that one because Pulisic would have scored. Gallagher, same thing, had a great chance, missed it. I mean, those guys had amazing chances, missed it. And I think that's Chelsea. It's Chelsea's downfall right now, and I believe Chelsea now, that puts them in 5th place. And that's not good for them. You can't do that. You can't survive and be a good team. That puts them in 6th.
They're 6th, yeah.
They're in 6th now. And so, and yeah, I will say this: they do have a game in hand on Newcastle. So
Newcastle and Spurs.
Yeah, and Man U has the same thing, and other teams do the same thing. So, right now, it's if you look at Newcastle, go, oh cool, they're in 4th, and in reality, they're in 5th place because Man U can win their game and jump us. Chelsea can't jump us because of goal differentials, and Fulham's equal. Big game was actually Liverpool on that one, but Liverpool can't do it. But like I said, good on Brighton. Incredible game, and they just kept pushing those guys.
They moved the ball so well.
So well. I can't. The new coach is so offensive that if you want to beat Brighton, you can't play like Chelsea does. Chelsea is so I don't know what's in their mindset.
They're
Yeah.
passive. It's
Yeah, it's like if the game isn't against like Arsenal
There's
at
no
night,
urgency.
yeah,
basically.
then they're like, oh well, we'll hold off and keep our, like, almost like they say, oh, we'll hold off and keep our energy until near the end, and then we'll score a goal with like 5 minutes left in the game, and then, oh look, we win the game. It's like, yeah, but you can't do that against good teams or teams that are on the uprise, especially a team like Brighton who's offensively sound, like very offensively sound now. Like, that's just way too scary.
Especially away from home too. Like,
Yep.
it's such a negative like mentality, right? It's
Yeah.
if you think you can beat this team, go out and play. Like,
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to, oh, you're too tired. Oh, screw that. Just play. So, but yeah, good on Brighton. Just hit the pedal to the metal. Didn't let off at all. Chelsea, bad on you. You should have done better. You had the chances, and you.
I mean,
messed
it's
it up.
possible they were rotating as well for the Champions League, which was a thing to finish this last week. But also, like, there's no excuse.
No excuse. Yeah.
One other thing though is, like, maybe they don't have to worry about league position if they win the Champions League.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again,
Sure.
But that's a tall ask.
That's a very tall ask. Yeah.
And we will see what happens in the Champions League after the next round starts, but that'll be a while from now.
So true. On to our next game. Our next game that we have is Crystal Palace versus Southampton. And that was a 1-0 win by Crystal Palace. Low scoring, low outlet, and low amount of adventure. Very, very blah game. Matt, what'd you think?
Yeah, it looked like it was just kind of a lot of back and forth, but not a lot of big chances. A lot of shots by each team, but not really testing the goalies for too much. I will say though that the player that scored for Crystal Palace, Edouard, he's very good. He's a younger guy. They just brought him in within the last year or two, but he's a promising one to keep an eye out for. Very skilled player. They have a lot of skilled forwards, Crystal Palace. It's almost like they have too much, but the rest of their team is just kind of eh.
Yeah.
And like, they won, which is great for them because they were sitting in the bottom, like, third of the table, which brings them up to 10th now. Which, again, it's such a big, like, a win can move you so far.
Yeah.
Like, Bournemouth is on 13 at 14th in the table.
Yep.
And Crystal Palace is at 16, and so is Liverpool at 9 and 10. So really, there's so much movement from, even 7th to 17th. And fair credit to Crystal Palace for taking the opportunities. I think Southampton as a team have shown flashes of like quality and flashes of like good football and like team play. But at other times they've just looked really disappointing. Like, they had more of the ball in this game, and more passes and all those things. But unless you're translating into chances, and like quality chances, not just like firing at the goalie from way out and it just him catching it, you're not going to win games. And I think I remember in my predictions for the results of the table, I think they're going to be 17th or 18th, and they're in 17th right now. And it's kind of disappointing because not that long ago, like 6 or 7 years ago, they were in 6th. Like, they had a European spot.
Yep.
But they're one of those teams that they saw off a lot of their prospects, and they're exciting young players, and they don't really have a consistent identity, and I think that hurts. What were your thoughts on this game?
So I saw only the highlights, and even based on the highlights, so boring. Just what they showed were so boring. You could tell that they're like, yeah, we just want to get to the end of the game. And so, because most of the highlights are, I don't know, anywhere from like 15 to 20 minutes long because of the amount of action. This is a 11-minute. It was an 11-minute one. That's how much. And the way these ones work is the first like 2-3 minutes are just showing the lineups and what you feel, and then the kickoff or whatever. And so I mean that's down to like 7 minutes worth of highlights, and it was nothing. They got a good goal. Crystal Palace, great job on getting a goal. But I mean, if I want a snooze fest, I'll go to my grandparents' house, all right, and I'll watch Jeopardy with them. Okay.
You can watch Wolves play.
Oh, burned.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah. But yeah, I could though. You're so right. Speaking of Wolves, nice transaction there. I like it. Like how you did that. Next game, Brentford versus Wolves. Tie game. 1-1. I wouldn't say there was lots of action, but God, there was some action. Matt, what'd you think?
So, I will say, first of all, congratulations to Wolves on scoring a goal.
I scored a goal, yes!
It's not been easy this season for them to find the back of the net, but They did it. It looks like there was quite some action near the end of the game.
Oh, yeah, there was.
My old friend, Diego Costa, got sent off after what I assume is an altercation, right? Like, there's got to be, like, people getting in people's faces and pushing, shoving, and headbutting, or that kind of thing.
It was a headbutt.
Oh yeah, that sounds like him.
It was a headbutt.
I didn't even have to watch. I just know.
Nope.
Like it reminds me of the time when City was playing Chelsea, maybe 5 or 6 years ago as well, and there was just a huge scuffle after the final whistle, and Costa was getting in people's faces. Company headbutted him and got sent off. Mm-hmm. This is the kind of player that Diego Costa is, and Wolves knew that when buying him. He hasn't been very good for the last 3 or 4 years. No. I don't know why he is even playing, but
maybe he's trying to get to the World Cup. I don't know. I mean, maybe he saw I could get to the World Cup if I headbutt somebody. Literally, last minute of the game, he goes in. The game's basically over. It was in a offensive style territory. So yeah, Wolves could have tried to probably score, but Brentford was playing actually pretty phenomenally, and there had been another call earlier that should have been almost like a red card, and they took the red card back, and they said, okay, no, we're not going to do that. But then Diego goes out there and goes, oh, no red card, not in my hands, not during my games, and went poof, and he headbutted the dude, and the altercation was nothing. Literally, he got into his face, and he's like, what? Bam, smacks him right in his nose, and probably more like his forehead. But I'm like, what are you doing? And so now he has to miss the next game, and it's like, dude,
3 games, a straight red.
Is it 3?
3 match ban if it's a straight red.
Oh, that's terrible for him, because that means that's going to be Brighton, Arsenal, and Everton. He has to play. He was. Oh, that is terrible. You have 2 of the biggest teams coming in with Brighton and Arsenal, and you're gonna lose him. But I just don't think he wanted to play those games. I think it was like, nah, bruv, I need to look good.
He's fine. He's getting paid.
Yeah, he's like, I'm getting paid. I'm good.
I will say, the goals in this game were well taken.
Yeah.
Ben Mee, who's a defender, also formerly of Burnley. Lots of former Burnley players still around. Had a really nice goal off of a kind of like a delayed drop, play after a corner. They took a short corner, played it in, and he just out of the air volleyed it.
Yep.
That was a really nice goal. Ruben Neves had a classic Ruben Neves goal where he just smashed it from outside the box. It wasn't a hard shot, but it was well placed.
Yeah, and then you have, of course, the Diego moment.
I can't say. Looks like there's a bunch of yellow cards this game. Wolves had 3, Brentford had 2, and Costa had a red, of course.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. They had there should have been another. I believe this is a game that there should have been another yellow, and they didn't. They pulled it away and go no. And then there was a red card that was actually played out. It got VAR'd, and they were like, no, it's only a yellow. So this game could have been wide open, and they got. I mean, it's perfect. That's how you had to do it, Brentford. You gotta
And
get.
this is the game, yeah. Like
Yeah.
both teams.
Yep. You get into
wanted.
Diego's face and you just start putting them and go, haha. That's how we do it. So.
Yeah, it's a shame neither team could find that second goal because
Yeah.
every point counts, especially for Wolves, who are sitting in 19th
They
right
needed
now.
that. They needed that. Yep.
But
yeah.
the red card didn't really affect the outcome of the game.
No, just going to affect them for later on. Speaking of games that were minute and boring, Fulham and Everton. Holy crap! I'm sorry, Fulham. Did you not wear your glasses this week or something? Y'all need to go back to the doctor or something. You get 24 shots. You only hit 6 of them on the net. Now, don't get me wrong. Pickford did fantastic. Pickford actually played very well this game. But, I mean, come on, guys. And also, the Fulham goalie did do well, too.
Yeah, formerly of Arsenal, formerly of a German team as well.
Yeah.
Losing, but yes. No goals this game.
No.
And not even a lot of chances. Like, it was kind of like the Southampton game as well, where not a lot happened. Like, there were definitely chances. The Fulham had 13 corners.
Yeah.
And they couldn't put one of them in the back of the net. Credit to Everton, but they're getting results, right? Like, this is the thing. It's like a lot of people criticizing Frank Lampard last year. Really poor season, almost got relegated. But Everton, whatever they're doing something well enough. They're getting results. Like, it doesn't really look that pretty, like, ever.
Yeah.
But they're getting results, and they're in 12th.
Yep.
So, credit to Everton for just surviving. You'd like to see them play a bit more nice-looking football. But speaking of nice-looking football, Fulham has been playing a lot more of that lately and had the bulk of the possession and the shots because of it. But they, you also have to finish. That's the thing.
They should.
With Chelsea, it's like you can have a lot of the ball, but it doesn't matter if you don't.
They should have won the game. I'm just gonna be blunt about that. They should have won the game, and they didn't. Shame on them. Yeah, it was so hard to watch the highlights on this game because there were highlights, and you just see the frustration in Fulham's eyes, going like, if we could just get a chance. If we could get a chance. If we could get a chance. And you hear Frank Lampard after the game, and he's like, yeah, we had a good chance to win the game, and we just couldn't put it in the back of the net. It's like, shut the hell up. You had no chance. Yeah, I had a better chance on scoring a goal this game than you guys did, okay? Like, shut up. God, go back underneath the rock that you're in. God, I was so mad at him for saying that. I'm just saying, I was really mad at him this game because nothing against Frank, because I know it's a Chelsea thing, but god dang, Frank, like,
it's England a thing too.
You were a great player, but shut the hell up. You're just terrible, man.
Yeah, at some point you gotta say, we weren't the better team, but we got a result anyway.
Yeah, like every single time. And I'm sorry, but if you watch his interviews, and at least with the Americans, it's like he'll start talking and he'll be like the one game against Newcastle where they beat them at the 96th minute, and they had gotten a red card. They had won the game and somehow got out of that unscathed, and he's like, yeah, we would have done better, but the red card blew us up, and shouldn't have never happened. And then next week we're in this week we're gonna get an apology video or something, an apology from them, and then next week it'll happen to us. We're the same thing, and we're supposed to get a red card, and we won't get a red card, and they'll send us another apology. They need to step up. It's like, dude, why are you complaining? You won the game. Shut up. In this game, you got a draw. Guess what? You weren't supposed to win. Shut up. Oh, it's that is my most frustrated moment of the week, if anything. Usually I'm more level-headed, but that's my most frustrated moment of the week. Sorry.
Sure.
On to the next game, Liverpool versus. I gotta do it the way I love doing it. On to the next game, Liverpool versus Leeds. Matt.
Team America, right?
Liverpool versus
you can call them Team America now.
Yeah, they're Team America now. Yeah, go ahead.
Now that they're actually winning, you can claim them as Team America.
Yeah, there you go.
They played well. I will say they were gifted a goal. The first goal was a complete blunder by a combination of the center back and the goalie. Like,
yep.
Somebody should have had that ball, and it ended up just rolling right to Rodrigo, and he said, "Thank you very much," in the net.
Yep.
Easiest goal he's ever had in his life, probably.
Yep.
And Leeds, they counterattacked well. They defended well. They got scored on pretty soon after, so it was tied for most of the game. Mm-hmm. But they had, I believe it was also off a counterattack. The second goal and the winner. They're flying back up the pitch like the whole game. It's just they had the energy. They obviously had to defend, but they defended and they took their chances, and it was such a nice goal. Like
yeah,
he just put it across. Like it wasn't the fastest goal, but it was just so well placed.
Oh, completely. Like so Klopp, I don't know if he told his players to do it or not. But basically, they were like, all right, we'll walk out of here with the draw. You know what, whatever. We get at least 1 point out of this, no problem. And Leeds said, no, we're not doing that. Like, we're like...
It was at Anfield, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was in Anfield.
You didn't settle for a draw at Anfield?
Yeah, and they went ahead, and the setup, I would say the best part of that play was actually the setup play from the wide side left. He had gone down the pitch line. Oh, yeah. He had three
the defender around the corner, and he had
three defenders. Yep, and he just cut back, and he just passed it right in. And the guy was like, "I'm gonna one-touch this. I don't care." And it was so funny because everyone was like, "So what are you gonna do?" Because it was his 21st birthday tomorrow, the next day or like in a few hours.
He's a teenager. Yeah, right? He was like 19 or something.
20-year-old. So he was gonna turn 21 the very next day, and he's like, he's like, I'm gonna go, I guess, go chill with my family. And then they're like, you'll probably never have to buy another beer ever again in Leeds. He's like, oh, I think so too.
I don't know if I'm pretty sure 21 doesn't mean anything in the UK because the drinking age is 18, just like it is in Canada. Most of Canada. Sorry, Ontario. But not sorry. Anyway, yeah. So he already could drink, but, you know, he would definitely, you know, scoring the day before his birthday is a reason to go out and celebrate for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, deserved win for Leeds. Obviously, like, they didn't have much of the ball, but they capitalized, and I don't know what it is. Like, this is mostly the same Liverpool team as last year.
Yeah.
Again, I have a good friend who's a Liverpool supporter who watches, like, all their games, and he was telling me the other day, like, Fabinho just looks like not the same player as last year. Like, Van Dijk looks just completely out of sorts. Alexander-Arnold, like, whatever it is, like, these guys are tired or they're just in their own heads. Something is up because this Liverpool can play well. They just aren't.
Yeah. I think it's two things. I think they're burned out from last season. They were about this. They were going to be one of the first teams to ever win 4 cups in a season. Yep. So they were burned out playing, and they did. They played every single game you could possibly play, and they barely made any changes to the team, which I wouldn't have either. I mean, come on, you literally go ahead. But what would happen is last year is when, let's say, Salah wasn't scoring, you had like Fabinho who could score, or you had
Firmino.
Yeah, or Firmino, excuse me.
And then Diego Jota and like. Yeah.
I mean, you had so many good guys who could score and come in, and I think honestly with a mixture, and I'm not even just saying the players too. I think Klopp is burned because I don't think Klopp got any time off. You go all because when you go to those FA Cups, you're going, or at least the cups at all, you're going all the way until like basically July. And
a thing to remember too about those is both FA Cup and EFL Cup finals, which they beat Chelsea, both of them went to penalties. So it was like a 90-minute game, a 30 minutes ahead of time,
Yep.
and then a penalty shootout. Like they played so much extra football. Like that's another full game there almost. Like.
Yep.
And then they went to the Champions League final, which is another like many games.
Yep.
Like,
And that's
home and away legs, home and away legs.
and that's right in. It's right about where like the end of June. It's gonna be like end of June, start of July. Well, they have to start early because they are the FA Cup winners. They have to then face in the Community Shield, which is the FA Cup winner versus the champions of the division, and they won that. Well, you have to play early that. So you're coming back instead of most people that would come back. And
it's like in August, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in August or early July. So you barely got like a few weeks off. I mean, I think they got like a week or two off. That is not good for the body. You play that many games and burn. Right. I can't play that many games in 1 year. My thing is, like right now, Football Manager 23 is about to come out in the next few days, like 2 days from now. Football Manager 23 is about to come out. I'm just now finishing up. I took a team from Division 9 all the way to the Championship League, Skybet Championship, which is Division 2. And 2, I'm in, like, I'm so excited about 23 coming out, but at the same time I'm like, I'm burned out playing, and I'm midway through my season, and people are like, I'm gonna give you like my best midfielder. I'm gonna give you I think one team gave me $23 million for him, and I'm like, yeah, sure. Like I'm not, because I don't care about the next season, because I'm like, I know I'm gonna, and I think that's where Klopp's at. Is he's like, you know what? I've won 3 cups in 1 year. I'm good, and I think I'm just gonna kind of wait until the year after. We're gonna stay up, of course, and I'm gonna stay up in the top half. But I think I honestly think the team
will make Europe. Like...
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I don't think he wants to even make Europe right now. Either he doesn't want to make Europe or his team doesn't want to make Europe. I think he's burned out, and he's like, but like this game here is last year, Jurgen would have been up and down the field, the sideline, yelling at people, going, go, get that last goal. We gotta get a win. We gotta keep up with Man City. You see him in every game now, and he's just like, oh, okay, I got scored on. Wow. I'm like, Jurgen, where's the passion, man?
I think things could change after the World Cup too, because the weird thing about this year too is there would have been a World Cup in the summer, right? Like that would have been instead of, June, July, like July, August, whatever. But the players actually had a rest, like some of them, right? Mm-hmm. Instead of that, but then they're gonna have it in November, December, right? So maybe the players that don't go to the World Cup are the ones that go and don't play very much.
Yep.
Will get a reset, and maybe some of them will get a lift. Like maybe if there's a few Brazilians that maybe if they go really far, maybe that helps them.
Salah because of Senegal going. Salah doesn't get to go.
For Egypt, yeah. So they
don't get to go.
To Senegal.
Yep. So they don't get to go.
Senegal has Mendy, who isn't the starter for Chelsea anymore, or isn't as favored, but he's gonna be playing now because I think Kepa got hurt last game.
Yep.
And Mane is also Senegalese, but he doesn't play for Liverpool anymore.
Yep. So they're
But Nunez is Uruguayan, Alcantara, Thiago is Brazilian. Robertson is not going because Scotland didn't make it, but Alexander-Arnold. These guys, Van Dijk is Dutch, he's going. Alisson is also Brazilian.
Yep.
I don't know who Brazil's favored keeper is though, because they have so many good. They have Ederson, they have Alisson.
It's going to be Ederson first because of how good Man City's doing as of right now. So it'll be Ederson, and of course then you'll go down the line from there. But it will be Ederson this time.
Yeah. But anyway, we'll see what happens with Liverpool. Yeah. I don't think they'll stay in ninth. But we'll see.
No, I forgot about the World Cup coming up and all the time. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, good call. I totally.
The next
totally
game though.
Yep. Arsenal versus Nottingham Forest. 5-0. 5-0. Butt whipping. Oh my god, Matt. Go ahead.
Oh
my god.
I want to start off by saying if you go back and watch our prediction video, I said that I think Arsenal is going to absolutely go out and embarrass Nottingham Forest. So, if I remember right, they had a poor result last week. They drew with Southampton. Just like Pep, so Arteta is a Pep disciple. Whenever Pep's teams lose or draw or have a bad result, he just gives it to them in the midweek and they go out and just thrash the next team they play.
You said that too.
Especially if it's a bad team, like a Forest, like a Norwich, like a Burnley. And they did. They went out and they scored 5 goals. And that's what happened. And they were the better team in like every aspect of the game. They had so many guys on the score sheet. Martinelli had a really nice goal. Partey had a really nice goal. Odegaard scored 2. Everybody was in on it. I will say I'm not very familiar with Reece Nelson. He scored 2 goals. Mm-hmm. He's a younger guy, I think.
Yes.
He actually came off the bench.
Yes.
He's 22. He's English. He's from London, but he's already playing with the big boys and playing for Arsenal, a team that is really good. So if you're making it onto that team, that says a lot. And scoring, and he's like, it's deserved. But yeah, fair credit to Arsenal. They just went out and dominated. There's not much else to say.
So I'll add just a few touches to this. Big dominance, great game by them. I think 1 goal was even taken back because of an offside, so it could have been 6-0. But really good game by Arsenal, showing their powerhouse on that. I will say this for this game, the big help on this game was Man City played earlier, in that weekend. And they could show that, they got a win, but they only won by 1. And then Arsenal was like, well, if we score as many goals as we possibly can, we can catch up in the goal difference then. And they just dominated. They just showed up and dominated, and we're like, keep going. Just keep going, keep going, keep going. See how far we can get against them. And I felt bad for Nottingham Forest because it's like, oh, you guys are just going to get your butt kicked, and they're not going to hold back this time. Oh, man. And one thing, I said it last week, and I actually finally did my own research and actually was going through everything. Arsenal, though, is the only team that still has 8 of the big 6 that they need to face in the year, because they have to face Man City twice.
Well, we're out of 10, I guess, because they play everyone twice except for themselves, right?
Well, yeah. Well, I meant like Liverpool was like the other. So you have like Chelsea, Man City, Newcastle, Tottenham. Man U, Liverpool, that type of thing. So yeah, so they had the big 6 going in there. And is that 6? Yeah, that should be 6. Yeah, okay, that's 6. And so they have those guys in there, and their schedule, and if you look at their schedule, like their next game's against Chelsea this week.
Yep.
I don't know if they're going to play well, but if they do, let's just say they do, right? They do. Their next game is actually against Brighton in the FA Cup. So they got Brighton they got to play. Then of course they're going to look behind and go, okay, well, we got Wolves and we got Wolves at the end. So good. Oh, great. So the only team we got to really worry about really is Chelsea. If we get knocked out of the FA Cup, no big. But we want to do big. Then they're going to come back and face West Ham. Then they're going to face a Brighton again. And after that, it is downhill for them. It is Brighton, Newcastle, Tottenham, Man U, Everton, who can actually play pretty well, can keep with teams. But that right there, those next 4 games, oh my God. And then sometime in there, we don't know when, they got to face Man City twice. I think Arsenal really had a good game this game. And I think honestly, everybody, I was hoping this would happen, because like I said, against Chelsea, I hope they beat Chelsea bad, and I hope they
will.
And I hope they go in and they whoop the crap out of Wolves, and that takes all 11 players and puts them in the World Cup, right? Tires them out. They come back, because they're going to come back and they're going to get their butt just handed to them. and I think that'll be their downfall. But good on. I'll just say this. I know I was looking in the future, but I'm saying good job to Arsenal. Well on you. But get ready for the storm.
Hard stretch, yes.
Yep. This is like a tsunami. Like, oh, look how pretty it is outside. Oh, we're doing great. And then the big wave's gonna hit them. That 4 weeks is gonna be hell on earth for them. But yeah, no, good on them. Good on them. And finally, our last game of the week, which I watched it and I was mad. I was furious. But it's Man U versus West Ham. Matt, go ahead.
I'm going to start off and say the result was a win for Man United. 1-0. Maguire started, interestingly enough, which doesn't happen too much. And West Ham were in the game, like the whole game. But they didn't have enough. And I was not able to watch this game. This was the later game on Sunday, in the afternoon our time. But yeah, it looks like there was just a lot of back and forth. The possession was pretty even. Shot attempts were pretty even, but I'm guessing you have more insight into the details.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I will say this: if he isn't the goaltender for Spain, yeah. If you literally anybody who's listening to this knows this for a fact, that if you actually watched like the actual game and maybe some of the highlights too, but you actually watched the game, De Gea had 3 amazing saves, and when I mean amazing, I'm talking any other goalie that isn't one of the most elite goalies would have let those easily in, because those were that good. There was a 94th minuter where West Ham it was literally their second to last shot, because they got a corner right after it happened. He did a top corner shot from outside the box. I'm going to say 30 feet. A top corner shot. De Gea was like one step, and he barely got his fingertips up and smacked it out of the way. It would have gone right in. You could see it. It was going perfectly right to the top corner. And he knocked that ball out, or that should have been a draw. Because I was sitting there like, oh my god, if they score here, that means Newcastle automatically secures that 4th spot. And then Ronaldo played like crap, but I'm glad Ronaldo was able to get in and get some playing time, and he actually shows that, you know what, I'm sorry that was my bad. Shows his team. Rashford again, beautiful job. I'm telling you, Rashford, if you ever. What's that?
He's been so good.
So good. He's so good, and I'm so proud of him, because not only is he an amazing player, he's an amazing human being, and so I'm really happy for him.
Do you think he'll play much for England then?
I don't know. I don't think he will. I think he'll be a backup. He won't start. They will not start him.
Oh no. But like if he gets into games.
Yeah. I think so. And I think if it goes to penalty, I think honestly the coach, if he's smart, if they go to penalty again, they'll bring Rashford and then the other guy who missed it from Arsenal, the kid, Saka. Yeah. I think you need to do that. Not because it's like you're not only your best guys, but because of what happened earlier this year in the Euro Cup.
It was 2 years ago now, right?
Oh, I thought
it was supposed to be 2 years ago. It was last year.
Yeah, it was last year.
Yep.
They need to do that. But honestly, De Gea, holy crap!
He hasn't even been in the squad for Spain. Spain has so many good goalies. I'm looking here now.
Yeah.
David Raya, who's Brentford's goalie, is also Spanish. He's only played 1 cap.
Yep.
Robert Sanchez, who's Brighton's goalie.
Yeah. I think he might get in though. But
Kepa is also Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a few other guys playing in the Spanish leagues. Unai Simon, who's played 27 games for Spain. Like he looks like he might get a lot of them. But yeah, if De Gea's in great form, like they'll give him a try. Like
I'll after we get done with the video, I'm almost gonna let you watch the highlights. You have to see the highlight of it. It is incredible.
He is so baffling as a player.
Yeah, I know.
He will make the most incredible saves ever, And I think it wasn't even that long ago. It was like
Brentford.
beginning of this season,
Brentford.
where he just had a howler.
Yeah.
He just let in like the most easy goals to save ever. It's like, how do you do that? Like, how are you world class on one day and like the opposite of world class another day?
That's soccer for you. But thanks again, Matt, for the video. Thanks again, everybody, for being here. That was fun. That was amazing. And once again, if you guys are interested, we are sponsored this week by HelloFresh. Thank you again. And if you guys want to get your first box, this is 5% off, which is actually it's going to be $16.79, which is amazing. The link is down below. Click on the link. It really helps support the channel. So thank you again. Have a good night and goodbye.